Hey everybody, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome to F1 2020. This is you got your home screen here, and the game was released early yesterday for people that pre-ordered it. So I did start a team yesterday. Started my own team. That's the thing everybody's been looking forward to. It's very cool. I'll tell you about it a little bit in this episode, and then we'll cut at the end. I'll edit in the end of the Bahrain race for the team that I have going right now. But also, first part of this video, let's create a new team just so we can sort of see how that process works. It's cool. I have to admit, it is cool. Other than that, everything is just about the same. Menus are all the same. Navigation is the same. Because my wheel is configured, you are going to hear me clicking. You're going to hear my wheel clicking as we move through some of this stuff. I do apologize. But yeah, this is all, if you're familiar with the game, this is all, yeah, you know what this is all about. So one other thing I can tell you in options, if we go here to settings, graphics settings, advanced mode, this is what it gave me like from the jump. And what this tells me is this game is technically unchanged from last year. There's been nothing added to the game for 2020 that's going to cause it to run any differently than it did in 2019. Because my card is not exactly a powerhouse, and yet it's still pushing this game out on ultra settings. So for what that's worth, I think technically, as far as the engine and the render and everything, I would say, in my opinion, it is absolutely no different than it was in 2019. So this is my team. This is, of course, the biggest thing that's been added. And we're going to get a Carl down there. He's going to talk a lot, and I'm going to try not to talk over him. So first thing you do is you select your character. I've only got one built. It's going to be the only one I use. So we'll go with that.
Let's get this team up and running. The first thing we need to do is register a team name and bring in some important partners.
You got it. So we'll register a name.
Enter a team name.
That's what I said, Carl. So we will be Carbon Carbon Racing, as we always are. Pardon my typing. Pardon my typing. Hey, I told you, different kind of video. Carbon Carbon Racing. There we go.
Let's choose our primary sponsor for this season. Some sponsors offer a larger signing bonus up front. Some offer more weekly income. The better we perform, the more our level will go up as the team gains more acclaim. Doing this will increase the income from our sponsors.
All right, so this is, I guess because this system, this is the first time any of us have worked with this, I would say they kind of dumbed it down a little bit, but I don't mind. That's not the end of the world. You get a signing bonus, maximum of 5.2 million, minimum of 4.2 million. But what's really important are the goal bonuses. So for something over here, I don't even know how we're pronouncing this, but for this sponsor all the way on the left, the goal is complete a full season. Okay. And you get a $2.53 million euro bonus for that. Over here, finish 10th or better. Because we're starting with an absolutely bone stock car, it's not like signing with a team in previous versions of the game where you could hop into Ferrari or Mercedes and have a very strong car from the jump. Our car is going to be kind of a dog. So 10th or better, I don't know, man. That's tricky. I know there's only 11 teams, but that's a big one. 15 constructors points, right? And so on and so on. 2 points finishes. All right, that's not unreasonable. 8th or better, nigh impossible, at least for me. 5 constructor points, etc. So I went with TriStar on the career that I'm actually in right now. But we can, since we're not going to use this profile, we could say something like loop. 5 points finishes. Not unheard of. 4.25 million for a bonus and 5.1 million to start.
Our chassis won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit. So let's sign one of those now.
All right, so we go over here to
The better the performance and
Carl.
the better. But be careful about spending all our cash. We're going to have people and facilities to invest in as well. Power unit suppliers will also provide upgrades throughout the season at no extra cost.
Fair enough. So these are going to be, Ferrari is going to be nerfed, I'm told. And Honda is going to be buffed, I'm told. I'm not a big Ferrari fan, and I'm not particularly a Honda fan. I do like Mercedes. It's 3.4 million. We got 5.1 million. So we could do this. We lose a lot of durability if we go with the Renault. We only lose a little bit of performance, but we lose a lot of durability. And I think durability is going to be critical our first season. We need to make as much money as possible. So we will go with Mercedes.
Without a second driver, let's sign a teammate.
All right. So we go here.
The drivers interested in joining our team. Look at their stats and pick someone you think can get us good results, as long as we can afford them. Oh, and we renew contracts every few races, so you'll have plenty of chances to sign someone else should the need arise.
All right, so I guess the rating is a combination or an average of all their other attributes. So I don't know. That a 45, I think we can do better than that, and we're only talking about a difference of 250,000. So any of these drivers with the 1 million, it would seem that for the same 1 million, we would want to go with a driver with the highest rating. But then it breaks down into experience, racecraft, awareness, etc. So we go to 1.5 million, we get another little bump. Say Jordan King. I likes the cut of his jib. All right.
Looks like we can afford this power unit supplier and teammate. Go ahead and confirm if you're happy.
All right, so that puts us at 4.9 million. Is that right? Is my math right? 4.9 million, and that leaves us 200 grand. It's not a lot, but we've got a strong car and a good driver. So let's hop in here.
Select or edit delivery will be running this season. We can add more sponsors to the car as we sign them throughout the year. And don't worry, we can edit our look at any time from HQ.
You got it, Carl. So I've got a paint scheme already built,
Now
but
we need a badge for our team
nope,
branding.
that's not what that's not what I wanted.
Badge, edit
Hang
it,
on.
or create one from scratch.
Hang on. So if we go back here, this is where you can see all the liveries. These are from, anything gold is from the Schumacher edition. I don't know. Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of any of those. And this is RaceNet. I don't think your sponsors show up on here. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not entirely clear on this. And then we've got some default schemes. You can edit all of the colors in these. And I guess there's going to be more paint schemes, more liveries as the Paddock Pass is unlocked. But for now, this is what we got. And I already have one built, so we'll just use that. We'll back out of this. Now delete that. Don't want that. And select the one that we have. Okay. And then this is the badge. I already did this. Carbon. I went with something that looked like 2 C's. I don't know, man. Oh. And did we select that? All right, so select that.
We need to pick team colors for the rest of our branding. You'll see these colors throughout HQ.
All right, so we can just copy over what we used for the livery. Black, red, and white.
Great.
Accept that.
Everything we need. You can go back and edit anything we've done so far, and we'll come back here at the start of each season. But if you're ready to go, hit advance to head to Team HQ, and we can start our push to the top of Formula One.
You got it, Carl. All right. So we are going to select 22 races, and we can select difficulty in here. Full practice. We want this to full, formation lap on, race distance 50%. I run 80% difficulty. I know. But that's just what works for me. And as far as gameplay settings, flashbacks, I do leave that on. I do. Parc ferme is on. Safety car is on. Corner cutting is strict. Race starts unassisted. Right? And then for assists, I do run ABS and TC, and everything else is manual. Right? So go back here, and this kind of fooled me last time. I couldn't find. There it is. Start season. Start session. Start season. Right. I couldn't find that for the longest time. I was hunting around. Right. So this is. Let this interview cutscene roll, and then I'll show you the HQ, and then we'll cut away and come back to a race or to the end of a race.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. There's a rich history of that in Formula 1 too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula 1, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula One team?
So this question aspect, I've never liked this part of the game. I feel like it influences how well you're able to build your car and develop your team, but it's so hokey and poorly put together. For me personally, I've never liked it. I would rather that this be determined by how well you drive, but whatever. I didn't design the game. So essentially what we're trying to do here is give answers that will benefit us, and without really knowing what those benefits will be or how to get them, you kind of have to guess. That's what I don't like about it. But I did this yesterday, and having played the game before, if you've played the game before, you can sort of, you can suss it out. So we always say good things about your team when possible. So we'll give this one.
Every team needs two drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates?
All right. And they do rotate these. So something like, it was tough to get any drivers to sign on to a new team, but I'm glad they took the gamble. Don't give answers like that. It's like the SATs. There's always one that's wrong, and there's always one that's obvious, and you have to just decide between the other two. Let's try this.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat?
I believe this is going to set a rivalry with another team. And I think Alfa Romeo is the one I went with yesterday.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
All right. So this is what we need to do, is balance this so that we get good morale for both chassis department and power. Yeah. All right. So we'll just start with chassis. That's the easiest one. Okay. And then we'll need to spread these others out.
Years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them?
So we'll say power unit. Okay. So we got benefit to power unit.
A key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way?
And this one we'll try to get an answer that benefits aero. There we go.
And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
Okay, and the only one left is durability. So by answering those questions right, you can, hang on.
That's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a wrap.
All right, so now when we get to our headquarters, you'll see that the answers that we gave for every department, let me see, we want R&D. So if we go here, we've already got one thing going on in every department. Like we got one perk, one buff in every department, and then we've got 1,000 points, and we can use those to add more things. I won't do that now, but this tree is very familiar to you if you've played F1 19, F1 18. So this is all the same. Do like this. What's new? We'll go back to overview. So the calendar is new, and that's something that I guess people have been asking for. So if we go to activities, we've got almost 2 weeks till the car reveal. And that means we can pick things over here that will benefit us. So something like a merchandise sale. We can make money. We can make $500,000 from that. And we're down to 200K, so that might be a good idea. But if you go with something like this, right, we get a claim, even though it costs us money. See what I mean? You just kind of mix it up with these different things. And I'll figure out what we want to do. Power and durability, that's new. We'll figure out what we want to do as we continue to move forward. This we've seen before. Emma, our manager, is still floating around being a pain in the ass. Facilities. This is very cool. So you can actually go into these facilities, and these have things that you can tweak and tune on them as well. I haven't completely unpacked all of this to understand like how it benefits R&D, but I'm sure it does. And yep, through all these. All right, like so. That is new. That's very cool. R&D, we saw. Vehicle, this is familiar if you've played the game before, as far as how you need to use resources throughout the year so you don't take too many penalties, or so if you do have to, say, replace an ICU, that you replace other things that same weekend and just take the massive penalty and start from the back of the grid. We'll be starting from nearly the back of the grid anyway. So this first year, this will hopefully not beat us up too bad. Corporate, for now, we just have one primary sponsor, but we can get secondary sponsors down below as our ranking increases. And I believe I went to level 2 at the end of our first weekend after Melbourne. So we'll be able to, I won't play this profile, but on our other profile, we'll be able to get up to level 5 and continue adding sponsors to the car. We've got our driver contracts. We've got perks for the drivers.
Any extra money that you spend
There's Emma.
on perks. Each of these perks benefit both you and your current team. They stay with you, so they'll make you a more attractive prospect in future negotiations.
Right? Now, this only applies to me, but then our guy over there, Jordan King, he can do this for himself as well. He can use money that he earns to get these same perks for himself, and I guess the AI takes care of that. Oh, not entirely clear on that. Driver market. This is where everybody else is. We've got F1 drivers up top, and we've got F2 drivers down bottom. This is really, really cool, and I'm really glad that they did this. And I didn't see Antoine when I was signing my driver. I believe it's a different menu. You don't have access to him until later. But I'm really glad that he is in the game, and I'm really glad that he will get to be an F1 driver. So, yeah, that's a cool thing. And then we've got finances, right? And I guess we can renew our driver here. We can start looking for another driver. We've got some graphs and charts. That's very cool. And then this takes you back to editing your car and your driver, etc. And then standings. Where is it? Right there. Standings. We've seen this before. Menus are slightly different from last year, but it's very easy to navigate around. I had no problem with it whatsoever. So, yep, this is all familiar to you. So let's click back to overview, and I guess we can, where are we at? We're at 18 minutes. You know what? Let's call it here, and I will go ahead and edit in the end of the Bahrain race. Or you know what? We could just keep this profile. Since you saw me build this profile, why don't we just keep this one? And then we'll edit in the end of the Melbourne race, and I'll do it again for the first time. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. All right, see you in a minute. So just a couple minutes of gameplay. This is actually Codemasters mix cut that they do, their highlight reel that they save automatically after a race. I'm not crazy about it. I prefer to use the full replay and then cut it together myself. The only problem is the button to select the replay and then for me to record it. That where you select it is like in the leaderboard menu, and I always forget to click it. I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be somewhere else, but anyway, this will give you some idea of what the gameplay looks like. The physics are still good. I don't know if they're great, but they're good. I don't know what that cut is right there. Thanks, Codemasters. But it's, I think it's a sim. I know a lot of people say it's a game. I think it's a sim. To me, it plays like a sim, although the physics are not great. The tire modeling has been improved this year. I can feel some difference. Not a ton of difference. I can feel some difference. And other than that, I mean, the ERS button now, I think, is very cool. Now check this out. Who's to blame here? Well, I don't know. Debatable. Jury's still out. There is an ERS button now where it's just one click for push to pass versus sort of sifting through the old ERS menu. I don't know. I like it. You can let it be automated if you want. You can just do nothing and have it be completely automated. But the push to pass is a cool feature. So yeah, the gameplay is, to me, virtually unchanged. Also, I noticed we don't have any sponsor stickers on our car. I don't know why those aren't showing up. Hey, they'll fix it in a patch. But we did get P8 and something. I think I took out a bollard there, one of the little cones. We did get P8. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the next menu, as far as difficulty settings and what I was expecting to happen. Now, Leclerc did retire, so we should have been P9, which would be, that's a little bit better than we want to be doing. But it's always hard for me to figure out where to set AI anyway. I mean, I don't just want to absolutely crush every race, but when you're trying to set AI high enough that you don't finish well, like in our case, we're a new team, we should be certainly out of the top 6. We're not even best of the rest, but we don't necessarily want to be worst of the rest either. So I'll bump the AI a little bit, and we will look for those 12th and 15th place finishes until we get the car improved a little bit. But something else that I did want to show you is, so if we go, and again, pardon the clicking of my paddle shifters here, but when I have my wheels selected as a control device, that's what I have to control all the menus with. So we did finish 8th, and we have 4 points, and then the team has 4 points. And I believe for our sponsors, let me see, they wanted 5 points finishes during a season. So we're 20% of the way toward that goal right now. But what this also opens up is, because we moved to level 2 up there in the top right, next to that little globe, we're level 2 now. And we got that from our finish in Melbourne. We can now go here and we can select a secondary sponsor. And these will have, I believe they pay us weekly, but then we also have goal bonuses. So this one right here that we stopped on, complete a race with no DNFs within a team. I think that's reasonable. We've got a pretty reliable power unit. Overtake 15 different drivers during a race, not likely, right? And so on. And there is, looks like there's about 20 of these, 18 or 20 of these. Zigzag. Wait, what? As a team, complete a total of 30 laps during a race weekend. You get it. We've also got 1.39 million now, and that is income that we got from our sponsor and also winnings that we got from the race. So if we go, let me see, we want to go to drivers, R&D. Where do we want to go? We want to go to facilities. We can't really afford any of these yet. I mean, we could get some of them, but I don't know that I want to start spending my money on these until I really understand what they do. 4.5 million. Golly. Yeah, until we have a better understanding of what these things do and why it's important. I don't just want to go, willy-nilly. Here we go. The analysis suite. Your second driver's experience stat will be improved. For $1 million? I don't know. But there's one menu I do want to find, and it is here. It is here. Contracts? Is it here? Yep, driver perks. So we can afford some of these. And I would say, oh, there's Emma talking.
They stay with you, so they'll make you a more attractive prospect in future negotiations.
Thank you, Emma. No resource point boost applied. 10%. I think this might be a way to go, because resource points, I'm not crazy about the idea of that. Oh, interesting. Until 8, and then we can buy it again for $500,000. Interesting. I'm not crazy about the whole driving through hoops kind of setup, but I get it. It works. I personally, if it was me, I would say that you get development points based on how well you do in a race. But that's just me. And the other thing I wanted was back here. If we look at the calendar, the next place that we can go, I guess there are no... So all the things that we could do, like the media sales or the merchandise thing, all of those exceed the 3 days that we have between now and Bahrain. So they just don't list them. But those will pop back up. So I think I really like this. And I certainly like the gameplay as much as I ever liked the game in the past. So they didn't lose anything on the gameplay. And I think this is a good direction that they've taken it in. It's reminiscent of the Dirt franchise, but really a lot more. They've added a lot more to it. A lot of stuff that is not in Dirt is in here. So we'll give it a go. I'd like to do at least 1 or 2 race videos per week. I've been meaning to do that for about 6 months, so we'll start doing that. Look for an F1 episode once or twice a week, and we'll just do the last few laps of whatever Grand Prix we're at, and then maybe hop back to headquarters and see what we can improve that week. So there you have it. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for our first episode of F1 2020. We'll see you next time. Take care.